Hello and welcome to This or That with Kobe and Jat, presented by Verizon. Starfish.
Green.
Nobody's gonna get what that joke is.
Before this, it went terribly. I don't know how this is gonna work because we're normally on the same page.
We're supposed to say the same word. It
This
didn't
or
work.
That with Kobe and Jat, slide number 1 is up next.
At least it still rhymes.
Okay. More of a crime that they're missing playoffs. Impact, Spica, or Vulcan, all Flat Quest players, all missing playoffs. Essentially saying, who was Elo held the most?
So, for me, Impact has been so driven. Like, he has been laser focused. He looks like he really wants it. But also, Spica, I can really feel it. When they didn't make it, it definitely hit him as well. I feel like it's between them.
Yeah, but it's like, what's more of a crime? Not like, who do you feel worse for?
Impact has the history.
I thought he was playing the best.
It's gotta be Impact.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, the other guys, great careers, but it's Impact.
Yeah.
Simple.
Who hulks out the most in playoffs? This is a predictive slide.
Yeah, predictive. Not
FBI, Jensen, or Closer.
Or who will.
Yeah, who do you think is going? Let's take a look at these hulks, by the way.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Jensen and Closer are both in the lower bracket. FBI gets a couple of chances. So he gets to get hit, knocked down, and hulk up again.
I feel like if Closer plays well, this will be the biggest hulk out.
It has to be,
He's been down here, and he needs to gain like 6 feet.
You know what? I'm gonna say Closer.
I'm gonna say Jensen, because I think that one's likely.
Man, we're both wrong. It's actually, like, FBI's gonna go furthest, but like, I think we're, okay. If there was an all-pro for jungle mid synergy, first would go to, this is gonna be a controversial one.
Ooh. Man, synergy.
I'm
Specifically
saying it's River
synergy.
Gori. I think it is definitely River Gori. These two make other mid laners look way worse than Blaber, Emenes make other mid laners look. Blaber gets really far ahead. He's good at winning games, but these two consistently coordinate together. You could even throw huhi in there. This is
Can I appeal to your Team Liquid history and interest you in a little APA plus Pioshik synergy, Jat? How about that Lee Sin kick into the Nico Pop Blossom? Huh?
That was good. That was nice. Yeah.
Enough to win your vote?
I think in order to have synergy, you need to be able to talk to us.
Okay! River Gori it is!
There we go. Well done. Nailed it. Next slide.
Better Team Liquid Honda intro from the week. Oh, man.
Oh.
Did we get the one from today?
Okay, so
this one was freaking sick.
Yeah.
Did you see that hit from Core?
Yeah.
He did the full spin into the solid hit, and then there was a W inside.
What was great was the slow reveal of like, what's in the pinata, thinking they forgot about it and pull it up.
Look at this. Bam!
The Barbie Oppenheimer with their upcoming game being in the middle and then picking that was actually very clever.
I mean, that one's clever. I like the force on this one. And the reveal of the dub inside.
It's not about cleverness, it's about what's entertaining, so it's this. Have we agreed too much? Did we meld too hard?
Well, you declared both of us wrong on one of the slides, so I feel like that's not a good sign. More OP role, more OP in their role, Tristana, Ivern, Kai'Sa. Okay, so when you say in their role.
It says mid.
Okay,
and bot.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a different question. Ivern is the most OP in the jungle. I think Tristan Kai'Sa are OP because they can do multiple roles.
I think it's Ivern right now.
Yeah.
Ivern is insane right now, especially with nerfs coming to a lot of the other junglers. Tristana mid is really close for me.
It's Ivern.
Especially as a counter pick.
I think it's good that we're agreeing so much. Like, we fight too much on this show. I think it's good every once in a while to show that we're on the same page.
Okay.
Which team will finish first? This game's about to happen. Cloud9 Golden Guardians.
So if we're going by historical stats, this year, Cloud9 has had severe upper hand.
I am actually, so I don't think the team that finishes first is necessarily going to be the better team. Let me explain. Cloud9 got to play game 5, now they're playing game 7. They haven't been waiting around for like 5 hours like Golden Guardians has. I think that's deflating for Golden Guardians. It's an unlucky draw, so Cloud9 will finish first.
Interesting. In the long days, it is hard to keep up the focus and the energy.
And we had their coach for a coach interview, and he said his team has bad endurance. He said that.
Cloud9 has just beat them a whole bunch this year.
And Cloud9 has high endurance. They wake up at 9 a.m. every day. They do training with a Navy SEAL, and then they script.
Really? Is that part true?
It's facts.
You just add that part?
The Navy SEAL made their training program. That's a wrap for This or That. Send us your suggestions in the comments, and now we'll see who finishes first.
We're on the same page.
Thank you so much. Mark was getting some last-minute stats in.
Just
checking. Hey, this is a very important matchup. It is the tie for first seed, sole possession of first place as we get into playoffs between Golden Guardians and Cloud9.
Absolutely huge. I was checking to see how long they had waited since they started talking about that. Golden Guardians played game 3. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's a couple games later. The mental endurance is something you have to consider. It is a longer day than usual. Usually you just play 1 game a day, so you have to play 2. But both these teams have endured a lot, I would say, with the fact that they had the deep playoff run into MSI, back to the LCS. So I think both these teams are used to longer days, more grueling schedules. And I don't think this should be too far of an excuse if any of them lose. Can't John too hard with it was a long day. I was tired.
At least 1 game of break between both teams. But, what a wild ride this summer split has been. And just talking from the perspective of Golden Guardians, because for Cloud9, definitely a lot of longtime LCS fans expected result for Cloud9 to be battling for the top of the leaderboards here. But Golden Guardians, we remember last summer, 8th place, spring split, finishing regular season at 6, miracle run all the way through the lower bracket, all the way to 2nd place, finishing at Spring and Raleigh, and now trying to finish for at least a top 2 finish here in summer.
Yeah, the fact that even last split, that great run that they had in playoffs, getting 2nd place, they ended the regular season in 6th.
Yeah.
They had never finished higher than 5th in the regular season. So regardless of outcome here, the fact that they broke the first curse of getting more than 9 wins for once, but also just the regular season placement is huge. And if you can take down C9, who have in some ways been their demons, the fact that they got beaten by them multiple times, in the best of series, went to MSI, lost them again, lost the first matchup of the first round robin in the regular season, and finally beat them last time was a huge watershed moment. And I feel like knowing that you're probably going to bump into them in playoffs again, just more and more confidence that you can give yourself in this particular matchup will be huge. So that's on the line. You have all pro voting on the line.
Yes, sir.
I know a lot of people think Blaber is one of the critical MVP candidates, but River has been sneaking his way up there. Some people are being like, well, it's a different style than Blaber, but it is very important for the team's success. If Blaber's able to get the best of him here, or River's able to take him down, that might influence fans. Just last split, a lot of people feel like Berserker got the MVP because of a match like this over FlyQuest and got it over Prince because he dumpstered them with that Draven. And so there are a lot of big implications for this matchup.
Yeah, if it doesn't sway at least MVP votes, since JoJo is still a huge favorite overall, it would at least sway first all-pro for jungle, because it seems like River and Blaber has been the top of the conversation for the past couple of weeks leading into the end of the regular season. I know first all-pro, a lot of people are looking at Licorice. What a huge glow up for this guy. Coming from spring at the beginning of the season, a lot of people are like, man, Golden Guardians is doing pretty well. Shame that they have Licorice on that roster, and now he's like the best player, or the best player in the top lane here.
Yeah, I think for a lot of these guys, you could probably look at when's the last time they got an all-pro nod? Like for Licorice, it must be like a 2-3 year gap.
Yeah, maybe on C9, right?
Yeah, it would have been back in the C9 days. I wonder about for a Stixxay. I don't think he got it last split, even though he might have been a little close. Am I trolling? Did he get one last split?
No,
it was because Prince, Berserker, and was it Double-Lift or something, maybe?
I think Double-Lift or FBI. It might have been Double-Lift, I think.
Yeah. Either way, point is, it's a huge success story for the Golden Guardians players to turn this around.
And we are into pick and ban phase for our last game, last tiebreaker, last game of the regular season of the summer split before we head into playoffs starting next week on Thursday. And Golden Guardians open up. No Tree Man, no Xayah, no Jax, and Vi from Cloud9. I love that they're even pointing out the Vi, because I know a lot of junglers have, taken their toll away from skirmishing junglers like the Vi and the Wukong, but River has shown how important it is in some of those clutch moments. We know that in the game earlier today with 100 Thieves, that last pick on Double-Lift was so crucial, and having a point-and-click reliable CC is so important for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, Vi has fallen out of the favor quite a bit because it's not quite as OP as it was, but it still does what you want it to do. And Ahri and Vi, this old OP combination, which is no longer OP, can still be executed because Golden Guardians' mid-jungle synergy is just so good, and that's exactly what Jat was talking about with this or that, and why they might have the best synergy in the league is they can pull off any of these heavy execution, high dive compositions, because River, Gori, and even huhi just see the game the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you think about when Golden Guardians were going through the roster and building for 2023. They asked him, River, who do you most want to play with in mid lane? He said Gori.
Oh my God, the try-hard comp is coming out. C9 had said in their games, in the regular season, if we want to win, Kindred, Ashe, Milio. This combination is busted. The Milio has not been banned. That might be coming in next. Otherwise, you would expect Golden Guardians to break that one out in the second ban phase. So this is a huge call out right now. C9 instant slamming some of the key pieces of what they consider to be one of the most broken comps right now.
And you can protect that Milio pick after R3 because you can go into the second round of bans by taking away things that a lot of people consider counters to Milio, like the Blitzcrank. I know any other hard engage support that would punish Milio would also be good. Golden Guardian's going to start off things with Kai'Sa and, of course, the Rell flex. So it's still available to go to River or huhi. They're going to keep their cards folded here and not reveal to Cloud9 what they want to go for yet in between those two lanes. Jayce most likely locked in for Gori here.
We'll have to see if they have something prepared as well, potentially, for it. There you go. Just going to slam it before they can get taken off the board. I wonder if Golden Guardians left some of these options up as like a test, in a sense. You know, this is a huge matchup for a lot of the reasons that we said, but in terms of playoff implications, what is on the line here is you're already in the upper half of the winner side bracket where you get a bye. Yeah. That's all good. You get champs or opponent selection after the first round, which is obviously going to be important. But if you have your eyes set on winning the title, at the end of the day, you have to win. Your opponent isn't going to matter. If you're going to be the best team in the league, you're going to be the best team in the league. It doesn't matter who you play against. And so who you pick doesn't matter. For Golden Guardians, you could argue that playing into C9's best version of themselves here and figuring out if you have the chops to beat it is a more important test to make. I don't know if that's what they're doing by leaving up C9's best comp or what, because there are plenty of times that these things are left open. The Kindred is 44% ban rate against Cloud9, but you know, this does feel a little intentional to me.
Yeah, no better time to test it than now, right? As you already pointed out, the stakes are nowhere near as if we were already in New Jersey and this was game 5. It's like, oh, okay, you now want to limit test Cloud9's potential best options, but they're going to now have information regardless of the outcome after this match of whether the next time they face against C9, if this is a combo that they're going to have to be more careful of in the future. So far, Cloud9 has already banned out the Blitzcrank as we called out before. Golden Guardians responding with Rumble.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get rid of some of the potential counters for whatever Licorice will most likely have to blind. We'll see what they want to do. Of course, they're getting rid of jungle flex there and a support flex. The Rell can go into either position. C9 covering some of the more annoying things that they think they might have to deal with. So that's those two gone. For C9, you expect them to maybe blind their top lane. Maybe they don't want to deal with Rumble blind. They don't feel like Licorice has a great answer to that if that was slammed in the 4th spot. Otherwise, I would think, you know, you're going to keep this Rell flex as late as you can. And
yeah,
you already know the entire bot lane, though, so.
And I feel like this Jayce should be guaranteed for Gori in the mid lane. So, I mean, the fact that Cloud9 want to actually give Emenes full freedom on what he gets to choose, unless we see something like Spring Split where they start flexing K'Sante mid lane, which I don't know if we'll ever see that again. That seemed like, you know, a thing of the past.
Era seems to have ended on K'Sante mid a little bit. It is true that, you know, the Jayce can also go in any position. You can still put it top, technically.
True.
So while it is mid Jayce, this is one of the things that Golden Guardians has always done super well, is being able to swap things around. But with the K'Sante hover, or pick, excuse me, you have the Gwen as an option.
Yeah.
Licorice has really come into his own this split, stepping into the carry role. No longer the weak side Renekton, getting resources in the draft, and even more importantly, in-game. A lot of the times they will do clears up his way or have early level 1 wards for him to make sure that he can start the wave the way he wants.
Last pickup here for Golden Guardians is Nautilus, and it's still unsure of whether it would be Rell in the jungle and Nautilus in support or vice versa. I imagine that it should be Rell in the jungle.
Yes.
Seems makes more sense. And for Cloud9, you now get to see the entire composition of Golden Guardians. What is the final pickup here? It looks like it will be the Ahri, just a little bit more mobility. The ability to skirmish with this Kindred in the early stages of the game, get that snowball rolling. If you can get Blaber with those early marks, you can just pretty much roll over this game and end it before Golden Guardians get rolling.
Definitely a clash of styles here where you have a 4 range comp for C9 that's going to want to survive a lot of the dive that's coming in from Golden Guardians. Really, Gori is able to get melee range when he wants to. If there's a single target ever isolated, the team has the tools to absolutely jump on top of them.
Yeah. And meanwhile, as we are loading onto the Rift, tickets are officially on sale for the LCS Championship in Newark, New Jersey on August 19th and 20th. Head on over to Ticketmaster.com right now to claim your spot. Final thoughts here on the compositions, as we already kind of preluded to before. A lot of early game power for Cloud9, heavy pushing lanes, especially in that bot lane for Berserker and Zven. But Golden Guardians, big thing to look out for is Licorice in that split push side lane. If he can get out of laning phase and he can get to those item spikes, it is going to be damn near impossible for Fudge to handle him in the late game.
Yeah, Blaber, the man on your screen, will be one of the key factors for this composition, both in terms of damage, threat, early game farming, all those things, but also the ultimate, its usage as they dive in for this Golden Guardian side, wanting to blow somebody up. It's his second most played champion, 63% win rate on it. Blaber is going to have to execute
and on
time around.
Yeah, and on the flip side, I mean, this is really the story of two junglers with their two unique play styles. Blaber, more resource focus, more I'm going to get myself ahead, I'm going to get a lot of resources into me, I'm going to be able to carry this game on my own. River, heavy gank focus. With Rell, it's all about CC, it's all about finding angles in the early game, causing disruption to Cloud9's early game plans. If you punish them and you prevent them from getting the snowball off and you get your composition online faster, then Golden Guardians, it will be first place for them.
So exciting to see first place on the line for Golden Guardians, an organization who had never ended the regular season higher than 5th place until this split, now trying to take down the back-to-back LCS champions in Cloud9 to take their spot at the top of the table. So exciting to see how this match plays out.
So far, Cloud9 are going to take that defensive 5-man spread, but Golden Guardians might look for something cheeky here. Trailing through the bottom side of the map, it's just huhi and Stixxay, seeing if they can catch Berserker or Zven walking around. I'm curious to see what River does in the first clear. As we already talked to before, Blaber will probably look for more of a full clear, trying to prioritize a lot of resources early in himself, whereas River, because of that Rell jungle, has a lot of options to see if he can snowball things.
Yeah, and like we said, a lot of times clearing up towards Licorice there. Not the easiest initial lane to gank for the Gwen, but very important to make sure she is able to farm up safely, stay ahead in the game. So maybe just a drive-by, drop a ward off. Bot side, always fun to stay on the river as we see some early trading out of Gori there. Nice to get half of the HP back onto Emenes. Emenes does have a ton of sustain though, having Corrupting Pot grabbed already in the Inspiration Tree, Unsealed Spellbook as well. Minion Dematerializer, so gonna be just fine.
Nothing too dangerous for either team here. Just seems standard all around. As you already pointed out, River has the option to start clearing towards the top side of the map. I want to start getting into what it would mean for, again, Golden Guardians to just be able to solidify that first place seed. As we talked about before, Cloud9, a historic org, looking for, at the end of the season, if they are able to make it all the way to New Jersey and win, it'll be their 3rd championship in a row. But Golden Guardians, to be able to answer them now would set them up in great form, looking at playoffs and looking for a potential upset. As, you know, Cloud9, there's a couple other teams that are still in the running for Dark Horses. Evil Genius is still a potential team that you have to be careful of, but Golden Guardians, still a team that you have to be respectful for, as Blaber is spotted on a ward here.
Yeah, I like the idea by Blaber. This is a sort of a river play, oftentimes doing some cheeky topside only clears into gank, level 2 gank. Kindred with that mobility, able to hop walls very easy, trying to find a path there. Ends up on top of the ward though. Licorice smelled that one coming his way. Unfortunately, River also showed on the ward, so both junglers now known by their positions. Both teams are gonna be able to lane exactly how they want.
Because of that, it just prevents a little bit of downtime for Blaber to fully optimize his first clear here, whereas River is pretty much on scale as Emenes taking a lot of damage. A nice hammer blow from Gori. That's the immediate flash from Emenes. One more auto attack. Gori is there with first blood against Cloud9.
Gori absolutely pops off there, able to use the phase rush to position perfectly to make sure that Emenes had no way out, both of them having to commit their flashes, but a solo kill pre-level 6 there for Gori. Huge stuff out of him, and one of the most important members on this Golden Guardians lineup. You talk about the implications of tiebreaker matches like this. He has had some rumblings, shall we say, about who is really the best mid in the LCS. JoJo had that title on lock the first 3-4 weeks of the split, but as teams started to target it harder and harder, and Gori started having these monstrous games like that LeBlanc game where he just puts enemy teams mid laners into the ground, he's gotten more and more attention. It's going to make the voting even harder for fans.
And now that they know that Emenes is down without a flash, it's still pre-6, no Spirit Rush available. River is here to see if there's a window to punish this mid laner without flash, but it's going to make sure that Gori is also protected since he is also without his flash. No timer from Blaber either, as River's going to take a recall and look to see what he can do on his next rotation.
Yeah, nice trade by Emenes, relieve some of the pressure that he's been under through the early levels. Like you say, getting close to level 6, and will be a lot safer from all-ins from this point on. But a nice little 600 gold advantage now, basically off that first blood. The rest of the map pretty even. Obviously, Licorice getting some good farm advantage over Fudge with this counter pick matchup. But otherwise, not too many other advantages.
Yeah. I want to start looking ahead at some of the neutral objectives coming up. First Dragon is live now in a couple seconds. Cloud9 have been getting the majority of the push here with this Ashe and Milio setup. huhi and Stixxay are finally pushing back as it's looking like it's the first reset for Berserker and Zven. I wonder if Cloud9 want to start stacking dragons earlier in this game, or if they are fine delaying it a bit and focusing more of their early power on that first Rift Herald fight.
I definitely think you want to get dragon stacking going as soon as you can. The fact that you have the Milio Ashe combination, the range advantage with Ashe's naturally long range is an extremely annoying composition to lane against and try and get prio back without just like all-inning, and even that is a hard fight to win. So obviously, if C9 can use that prio to start stacking dragons, that's what they want to do. But this mid lane wrinkle is making it harder for C9.
And Blaber spots out River with the control ward over the wall, and they're going to get aggressive. They both have the double range advantage, whereas River has to walk out, gets a nice stun down, but Gori doesn't have flash still, so he has to be careful of how far he stops up against Blaber. And Blaber's willing to trade a lot of his HP because he can always retreat to the jungle and heal it back off.
Yeah, a bit of a sketchy situation there. Ends up being able to be disengaged with no extra sums forced, though. Blaber being half HP means it's difficult for him to try and use that access. And huhi on the roam timer, the third man. If River's the right hand of Gori, huhi, I guess, is the left, because he loves to ditch Stixxay during that time where they're just farming up until Stixxay gets a couple items, then go make plays elsewhere on the map. And it does speak to the team's strengths for Golden Guardian. They're a well-oiled machine and kind of have the old C9 syndrome problem of like, who do you really highlight as the most important player? We were singing Licorice praises just a moment ago, but a lot of mid to late game team fights have actually been won by Stixxay, of all people, having monstrous Aphelios performances. Yeah,
and Stixxay had the glow up as well for himself in 2023. A lot of people, might remember from his time of coaching in Challengers, but then proceeding to play for Challengers since Violet could not come due to visa issues, and then realizing, hey, I still might have it, and then being able to play for Golden Guardians in that following summer split, and then having one of the biggest plays in that 100 Thieves series last spring.
Someone to keep your eye on as he scales with this dive composition. Kai'Sa great at following up on that. C9 being able to grab that dragon like we expected them to want to do. Of course, with the K'Sante on the top side, this is what you kind of need out of your bot lane, because you're not playing around him for these early levels into the Gwen. So nice to see the game plan is more or less still online for C9 despite the early solo kill. And River doing what he does best.
Does he want to look for a flash W, try to just knock up Emenes, but he still has... Is Spirit Rush off cooldown? I guess it's just about to come back up. So that was the window that he was looking for, try to punish without flash.
Yeah, they're very good about finding timers, and while both teams have flash, I think even without Spirit Rush, if you're able to get the full combo off, River being 6, maybe they can find a way to chain CC him up.
A lot of damage in the bot lane. huhi and Stixxay just handling the brunt of that, but the fact that Stixxay and huhi are still keeping up in CS is still pretty good for them.
Yeah, turret not having any chip damage on it. The fact that you're still even in CS, it's a pretty good lane phase into this combination. You can see Berserker and Zven willing to use the ultimates just to kind of force them low, get prio in this lane, and make sure they're pinned up under turret so huhi can't pull off those kinds of roams, as well as having really good vision control on this entire bot side of the map, which allows Blaber to move up here. He starts getting some wards down and track exactly where Rell is.
And Cloud9 are trying to move up towards this Rift Herald after securing the first dragon just a couple minutes ago. Golden Guardians, doesn't look like they're going to get a chance to really contest. The fact that Zven is here to help Emenes get wave prio here before huhi guarantees that Cloud9 should have the first collapse as well. Licorice is off of a reset timer as well, walking straight from base. It's 3,600 HP onto the Rift Herald, and River is here. They might try to look to turn this one. Already, Licorice with the sniff and into the needlework is forcing Blaber off of it. It looks like Blaber is able to get the smite down, but no one from Cloud9 can walk safely into the pit, so that just might be a dead eye.
We'll have to see if Fudge can risk it for the biscuit. I don't think he's going to do it. I actually will say that was a good smite by Blaber there, because they were going to get forced off that Rift Herald no matter what. And what he realizes there is it's just going to slightly reset, and then Golden Guardians are going to get a Rift Herald. So I will deny it for both teams here. We could not sneak it in time. So I still think, even though it looks a little troll, that like, oh, they can't pick up the eye, that was the right play to actually go for, given what was happening.
And the fact that Golden Guardians were, despite being late on the start of the Rift Herald, coming in for the rotation, forcing Cloud9 off. Good in the end. No one gets the Rift Herald here, and so that means Cloud9, the next major objective for them will be that dragon in a couple minutes.
Yep, so like we said, the top side's not really where you're strongest on the map anyways. You took this look at it, you had first move from the bot push like you were saying. Can we get it in time? No, Licorice is ghosting at me and popping needlework. Okay, I'm gonna just deny this from both of us. And so now, like you said, dragon up in 2 minutes. The scaling is continuing. No one has quite yet grabbed their mythic item. Stixxay, technically the first person with the first item completed, rushing the static shiv on the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, and it's not been a very high action octane game for our last tiebreaker of the day, but it just goes to show how much respect both teams are playing towards each other, even after the first blood. Emenes has been keeping very safe and still keeping up CS decently.
And I feel like, just like the last time these two teams played, this game has a level of tension that you would expect in a playoff match. It's not that these teams aren't doing anything, it's just that they're not blowing games open, tons of fighting, all this stuff, but each move is preceded by some form of logic.
Yep.
Other than, you know, obviously the solo kill is just, hey, hands diff a little bit, but most of these other things are strategic moves that I really like to see out of teams.
Yeah, and a lot of that just comes down to the teams understanding, hey, this is the next logical move, this is our counter, right? And then the first team that made that move was like, okay, well, we cannot proceed with this move any longer. A lot of them are just playing the line until the point where both teams kind of just neutralize back out. So that's why it doesn't look like much is happening. It's because there's so much counterplay back and forth.
Yeah, and sometimes teams just sit there and farm and they're not doing anything. That's boring, that's different. This is not that game. Very cool stuff so far. Dragon up in 50 seconds.
Arrow? Well, it hits huhi dead smack in the eye, but I mean, Charm does a decent amount of damage, but he's not under any threat unless River wants to go, forcing the all-in play. huhi flashing forward with the Nautilus ultimate, gets the knockout down, but the dredge line does not connect because Emenes flashes it in time.
All right, ult and flash forced out of Emenes, but it cost huhi his. I think the fact that they also got chunked low means it might be hard to contest this dragon if they can't get a reset off in the next 20 seconds. I like the idea out of C9 there, seeing if they can get a cheeky kill, jump the dragon play a little bit. Gori TPing back, though, means that they're not ready to give this one up quite yet. Can still expect a fight.
Little difficulty for Golden Guardians trying to enter in the river here, but Emenes might be forced to recall here down on mana. And, you know, huhi just seeing if he could get a lucky Hex Flash dredge line over the wall. But Dragon is live, and Golden Guardians have first fight.
Yeah, the fact that there's no Ashe ult, no Ahri ult makes C9 a little jumpy around trying to hold on to their position in the river. They sack that one. Dragon's going to be split now. One for C9, one for Golden Guardians. And during this time, C9 wasting no time. You can already see Blaber on the reset moving up to the top side of the map, trying to grab another mark for himself, as well as working with Fudge, who now has pushed with all the resources coming down to the bot side of the map.
Yeah, gonna get spotted on this ward by the Grom. They know that he is going for his mark as well. Licorice can't really do anything to send him off of it. Fudge doing his best to protect his jungler, guaranteeing that he is getting those on time. And we're kind of back to an even state here. Gold lead is pretty much dead even. There's a couple hundred towards Cloud9's way, but it's still anyone's game.
Yeah, definitely can go either way right now. Blaber only on 2 marks. Not the best Kindred game from him, but in slower paced games, a little bit harder, especially with, it feels like the level of attention to warding both teams are playing to. Knowing that the jungler is in a lot of ways the engine for both of these teams. Ganks from River, skirmishing from Blaber, both of them kind of being denied right now with heads-up plays from both teams.
Yeah, I mean, so far, the only real contact has been around the mid lane. Top lane, been pretty even. Bot lane, they have been pretty safe as well on both sides. No one is really being thirsty for blood here, but we might get some action this jungle.
I think they're trying, but we'll see if this is a potential face check. Don't want to jinx it. Super Blast going all the way back to mid lane. Gets to skip that little setup there that River was looking for. Cheated that play a little bit. I will say also, in terms of scaling, since we have a bit of a slower game here, the comps execute very differently. Obviously, Golden Guardians dive comp, but also with a potential 4-1 split for the Gwen. If she just is able to continue even farming, she really begins to become more annoying around the 2-item spike and starts getting that kind of potential solo kill angle onto the K'Sante.
Yeah.
For C9, the fact that they have 4 range in their 4-man composition also means that they'll probably have a lot of priority, and if the Gwen is split, can Golden Guardians find someone to blow up either before the ultimate comes down from Kindred or to reset the fight, not end up fully engaged and then re-engage once the Kindred ultimate drops.
Yeah, because if K'Sante is not with Cloud9 in this team fighting composition that they want to go for,
No melee.
Yeah. The only real engage they have is waiting for Berserker to hit someone with the Ashe arrow, and then they can commit with Ahri Spirit Rush, you know, looking for the assassination.
Yeah, a lot of playmaking available to them, but no front line. So if you're not there first, it's very hard to buy space with this composition. You do have a lot of tools for poking Ashe with Hawkshot, things like that, but it is difficult sometimes to face check if you're not there first. I will say also, we saw Cloud9 run this composition a number of times throughout the year, and Blaber begins to play very, very aggressive in the mid to late game. Most recently, in the game that they actually ended up losing to Team Liquid, they almost came back. Berserker on Ashe was absolutely incredible, and Kindred, knowing that he has Milio behind him, can just go absolutely ham, queuing forward at people, and if you ever try and CC him, the cleanse from Milio makes sure that he always gets his ultimate off, and you can just never actually insta-give the Kindred.
Yeah, and I mean, the power of that Cozy Campfire, giving Kindred an already short-range marksman, especially if you're not getting those marks, that extra bit of range so that you can start playing around that line of fire with your attack range. Second Rift Herald has been started up by Golden Guardians. Teleport is coming in from Fudge. Gonna see if he can find an angle. All 5 members of Golden Guardians are grouped up here. Gori's the one that got stunned up by the arrow, but Fudge, can he frontline this one? Emenes from over the wall is into the fight. Blaber stole the Rift Herald. That's great for Cloud9, and they pop the Lamb's Respite. Blaber's gonna get a lot of HP saved up for Cloud9, and River might just go down, but he's blinking low on HP. How does no one go down in that fight?
Only huhi ends
Only
up
huhi.
dropping at the tail end of that. The eye this time successfully picked up by Cloud9. Licorice isolated from his team now, though.
Now Licorice getting charmed up, but dodging it out with the mist. And Cloud9 are going to look for a dive here, but Zven has no mana. He's just an HP bar. Can Licorice survive this one? I don't think so. Blaber's able to take that one under the tower. Gori's able to teleport as well. Can he clean this one up? Flash from Sen keeps him alive. The charm, the Everfrost, so much CC. River's trying to answer back as well. Fudge keeping him at bay with the slows from the Notoko strikes. Void Seeker from downtown for Stixxay. He has Killer Instinct, but he doesn't have the confidence to look for it yet. A flash from Emenes, dodging out onto the skies from Gori, as the rest of Cloud9 are still under fire, but they retreat out. But it's the last snipe from Gori that takes Fudge to the fountain.
The slow long con there by Golden Guardians. C9 find the kill, making it a 2-for-1 on the tail end of that entire fight. Berserker dropped back down to mid lane during all that, so while Golden Guardians end up covering that dive, it took them forever to find that kill onto Fudge. Slightly behind now on the tail end of that 2K gold lead for Cloud9. They also still have the Rift Herald to drop. Very, very tense fight there. I was so worried that Golden Guardians were going to get wiped. That Lamb's Respite was great. They split the fight very well. They had a great Rift Herald fight, but such a good response by Golden Guardians, making sure they could not exploit that top side of the map.
Definitely was tense as we take a look back at that replay. The fact that no one from Cloud9 does go down in this aftermath is crazy to me.
This little choke becomes so annoying for both Stixxay and Gori, who want to kind of charge through and start hitting other members, but the only person they can realistically hit is Fudge and Blaber. Of course, we talk about the Lamb's Respite, keeping them safe, and allows the other side of the fight to go in the favor of C9, who do not have that defensive option that the Kindred brings. And so while River does get out and those carries are safe, it was a one fight by Cloud9. Here's that extended chase down sequence. Gori trying so hard to find this last kill, able to land that snipe onto Fudge. Huge play there. Off that tempo though, Cloud9 resetting, dropping the Rift Herald. Emenes was the one who actually picked that up in the end of that Rift Herald fight. So he's able to drop that and TP back down to bot lane as well as Cloud9 start grabbing their second dragon of the game.
And I don't think there's going to be any contest from Golden Guardians either. It just goes handily over to Cloud9. Golden Guardians not really in position. Licorice, I don't think Golden Guardians really wanted to expend his TP for this dragon. Looked way too dicey. It's going to give some solo time for XP and gold gathering for Licorice. I mean, for the side of Golden Guardians, they are still trying to build their way to multiple item spikes. We know that Stixxay on the Kai'Sa really starts to become a threat to be reckoned with off of the 2-3 item spikes as well. The poke starts really railing in alongside Gori's Jayce. And then, of course, if Licorice gets online to his second, then it becomes a problem for Fudge in the side lane.
Definitely could become a bit of a problem, but so far doing just fine. Also worth noting, Kindred picked up one mark in that entire fight, so just one away from the 4-point power spike.
Now Cloud9, seeing how well they can propel the snowball. It's a little bit of a gold lead, 2,000. But Golden Guardians investing a lot of members into this bottom wave. Fudge doesn't have flash from before, but he's got mobility. Just being able to dance his way out of danger from that one. Seeing what Cloud9 can do. They are pressuring mid lane at the moment, but there's no tier 1 turret to take, so They're just going to retreat into the top side of the jungle.
Yeah, nice little look there for Golden Guardians. The fact that mid and top outers had already dropped, that there was nothing really there for them to defend. So very easy for them to get a look at Fudge. If he had been a little bit too far forward, maybe they could have found that kill, but not the case. Do chip into the gold lead just a little bit, but Cloud9 in these skirmishes, in these fights, kind of eking out the advantage a couple times in a row now.
Despite the advantageous fight for Cloud9, it still seems so damn close. So the gold lead in their favor. Feels like Golden Guardians, the next fight could still be able to take control of the momentum of this game. For Cloud9, if you are in their shoes, do you feel concerned that you're not pushing the tempo of the game fast enough here?
I think you're fine in terms of a scaling perspective. Yes, the comps do have different strengths and weaknesses, but it's not an inherent advantage or disadvantage, I don't think. Maybe the Gwen becomes such a problem, you look back and go, oh, damn, I wish we went faster.
Sure.
But you're largely still stacking up the objectives just fine. You are executing well in the team fights. I'm still not sure exactly how such an all-in composition is able to kill the Kindred with the Milio standing right there. This is the problem that has made this comp so strong. The one time that C9 lost with this comp, that Team Liquid game that I'm referencing, it was basically an overplay by them. They long chased all the way up top lane while Emenes TP bottom. It was just a crazy game that I don't think is reflective of how you actually beat this composition. And yeah, you can poke, you can get people low, but Milio can heal. Milio and Kindred are good against all-ins.
Well, can they survive this all-in right here? Blaber's under fire. Does he have Lem's Respite available? He does. He already pops it. Huhi's also under danger as well. Berserker's trying to look for Stixxay, but he already killed her instinct onto the top side of this fight, being able to reposition with the rest of his team. Huhi goes down, but they're being able to trade right back onto Fudge, and now Emenes has to lay fire down in Licorice, trying to do as much as he can to survive, but the flash from Blaber secures the kill for Cloud9. Berserker able to handle the 1v1 as well against Gori, and River's under fire as well. He's got to get out of there, and this just could be an early Baron for Cloud9.
Absolutely going to be a Baron for Cloud9. Blaber again being the target, jumped on early in that fight, but able to survive, just staying topped up for as long as possible before having to pop the Kindred ultimate. And again, the fight being somewhat split. Berserker hopping onto Stixxay here is such a heads-up play. Doesn't land the ultimate, but realizes who is not in the Kindred ultimate, who I can start winning against, and just does so much damage. Stixxay has to ult in to actually survive and then flash back out. I actually like the way he played that, but the problem is it's too little too late. They already had multiple members dropping low, and so when Berserker wraps around, the flanking Ashe is actually able to solo out Gori. This is why people are so juiced about his Ashe. Berserker looking so good.
A frontline Ashe moment there, but I mean, Berserker is able to just completely destroy Golden Guardians one by one. And Cloud9, if their 2,000 gold lead wasn't a sign of dominance of things to come, this 5,001 on top of the Baron seems like a sign of things of them being able to claim first seed at this pace.
Does feel like Cloud9 are going to potentially hold on to their #1 ranking, beating Golden Guardians, stopping any potential momentum from the last best-of-1 win that they had, cementing themselves still as the final boss of the LCS. Some big performances as well. You can see Blaber popping off on this champion, Berserker as well, trying to lock in those first-team All-Pro votes.
Be quite the contest here. I mean, Emenes has already picked himself up a Magi Soul Stealer. He's feeling confidence through the roof. Now huhi takes a little bit of damage from Emenes. He looks for poke with the Spirit Rush. Already Fudge is dealing with Licorice in the mid lane. Ashe Arrow goes wide, but it does force Golden Guardians a little bit off of their turret as they get some chip damage down. huhi with the engage. Multiple members being set up by River here. Lamb's Respite popped by Blaber. Buys time. The Breath of Life from Zven keeps everyone topped off from Cloud9, as now River is gone and Fudge is looking for the flank. Can he get huhi into place here? He still has the all-out available and ready. Doesn't even need it. He takes him out with just the raw damage. And Cloud9 are starting to wipe Golden Guardians off the map one by one. They can pick up the dragon. They can continue pushing down into the base. They've got everything they wanted.
Kill after kill after kill from Cloud9 here. One member down, they charge forward. You can see how strong this composition is. Such a good engage, but still, Blaber gets the ultimate off. You can't get the kill. They reset the fight. They chase you down. They take an inhibitor, and during that time, Blaber was also working down the dragon. He also grabbed his 4th mark from that fight, I believe it was. So such a huge win for them, now up to 7,500 gold, basically.
The fact that Cloud9 initiated that fight with no true front line, as you pointed out. Fudge was busy with Licorice in the mid lane. And the fact that Cloud9 can outrange Golden Guardians, can out-kite Golden Guardians, can out-sustain Golden Guardians. this is pretty much Exodia for them. I didn't believe it at first, but now I'm starting to believe the power.
You don't believe this comp? This comp is insane to me. It's like, you know, those copy pastas where you're like, okay, so it has Sustain to deal with Poke. It has the Kindred ultimate to deal with Burst and Dive. It has Milio to deal with CC as well there. You have Engage with the Ashe arrow. It literally does everything. I do not conceptually know what comp beats this. So ban it in playoffs. I think if you left this up as your research here, you did the research. It's hard to beat. Here, the Ashe arrow's down. This is as good of a gauge you're going to get. You're basically under turret. Kindred still gets the ultimate off. You're dealing damage during this time. You land the poke afterwards, but the ultimate from Zven makes sure that no one actually drops.
And we got one more fight, and huhi's just gone. Completely disappeared in this game as Fudge goes for a double. Nice knock-up onto the last member of Golden Guardians here. River looking for a way out, but Stixxay gets caught up. Killer Instinct. It's not going to save you, buddy. This one doesn't end in your favor. It's Cloud9 all day, all season in the Summer Split as they make their last march into the base and for the end of the summer season.
Cloud9 hold on to first place for this second regular season in a row, the second time having to defend that position in a tiebreaker match. Coming up absolutely huge. Licorice doing his best to hold on as the respawns start coming in.
Multi-man knockup from huhi, but it's all for naught here. Cloud9, what a damn good split from them. Summer season is theirs as they take sole possession of first place.
When it's all on the line, Cloud9 go back to the tried and true composition. Kindred, Ashe, Milio. Absolutely disgusting comp. You could see Golden Guardians, no way to realistically win those team fights. Well executed, as always, by them. Every member of the team stepping up at different points. Ashe for Berserker finding really good angles to get DPS out onto key targets. Blaber playing frontline Kindred, baiting people to engage into him, never actually dying though, and Zven always making sure that his boy is backed up the entire time. And Fudge, the team player, willing to say, yeah, give me Cassante. Yeah, let's play into Gwen. No, don't help me. This is fine.
No Renekton for you, but it's okay, you know. Weak side top king for Fudge as he holds down the line against the eminent pressure of that Gwen matchup. It never was a threat for them. They were able to snowball the game fast enough, and it got to the point where Licorice just could not be that Thanos raid boss that Golden Guardians were really hoping for. And I love the shout out for Zven as we're going to take a quick check in with the bombs.
I'm gonna go.
I have more than 5 seconds.
Pick Kai'Sa.
Yeah, go Kai'Sa. We can end, no?
Yeah.
Go top, we can end.
I can TP, okay?
Yeah,
When
I
will
can
try to
bait
ult the wave.
I can ult either way. Guys, I can ult either way. I can ult either way.
Yeah, sure. I shall just base TP just in case. Gwen's bottom. Base him now.
Yeah.
Nice guys.
I don't fucking know stuff.
Okay, man.
Good job, man.
Good job. Just smart.
Yeah,
just
you forgot it.
I'm gonna ult the way. I'm gonna ult the way. Get hit. I'm gonna ult the way.
Yeah.
He can't go the way. Just kill him. Go.
Whoa.
Huhi.
Best support in LCS right there.
And that's my go, huhi.
Best support in LCS, guys.
Bad.
Nice.
Bad, Brett. You mad, Brett?
Nice!
Oh, you love to see it, Zven letting them know. Seeing the
Support in the LCS, by the way, guys.
seeing all the early all-pro votes from Discord and whoever else. Maybe not agreeing with the all-pro support vote.
A little saltiness in there, you know, it's okay. You know what? I appreciate that Zven is always, you know, honest about
He'll
his
let you know what he
emotions.
thinks.
Yeah.
I also liked the Berserker Woe. I like the Kindred comms from Blaber, about how to keep the wave alive. Emenes sounded like he was maybe a little dejected after the solo kill not having his best game. But at the end of the day, they pick up the win.
Yeah, Emenes always wanted to put his best foot forward, and, you know, sometimes you just need the rest of your homies to back you up, you know, and put you on their shoulders, yeah. But that's going to be doing it for us on the broadcast and the casting side. Let's hand it over to the LCS Lounge to close out the day.
Woo!
Let's go!
That's the end of the regular season, ladies and gentlemen.
6 weeks of sprinting.
It went by so fast,
actually
We
unironically.
streaked through it.
Because we may have had less weeks. So let's pull up the POG updates, the final POG updates. Let's look at this
Oh,
day.
the backwards cap tactical.
I love that. I love that picture of Tactical. It's great.
I love this. I wonder if he had that idea himself.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because literally no one else has done it.
True.
Yeah.
Jojo Pion picking it up versus TSM. Gori versus 100 Thieves. This is
Yeah,
really
and that
Yeah.
Blaber player of the game was pre-tiebreakers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't actually have player of the games for the tiebreaker games because
That would be
a
cheating.
lot of reasons, but
Yeah.
they have MVP implications and it's just rules and stuff. But these are the 5 scheduled games for today.
Now let's take a look at the POG leaderboards. This is the final POG leaderboards.
Whoa.
Hell yeah,
Oh my
Blaber.
God.
and
With
JoJo.
the 2 leading MVP
Yeah.
candidates. Checks out.
Checks out. I love being able to see the just basically the end game screen, the end of split screen, just to see the snapshot before
7?
playoffs. That's
That's
crazy.
a lot
Yeah.
for
That
an
is-
18-game split.
What are
Yeah.
you trying to do?
I'm trying to
He-
say that's a lot.
He is
Okay.
starting his Blaber MVP
I'm just his ulterior
ballot
motive.
early.
It's there.
on such a
Player
talented team.
of the week. JoJo! That KDA is insane. Honestly, he should have had it a long time ago. Week 1, the conversation was there. He got it. I mean, Armeo was the one that picked it up. JoJo had an insane laning phase. He has been hulking out the entire split, really.
Yeah, and I think his lane pressure and also just willingness to roam that we've seen from him is another reason why Shaden ended up looking super good and fitting well with the team, right? Like, not to take away from the way he played, because obviously he came in, performed really well, but having that kind of mid pressure as a jungler just takes so much pressure off of you.
But an insane stat that I found from this week with JoJo is opponent jungle proximity, the amount of time enemy junglers around JoJo, highest of all mid laners.
Yeah.
Jungle proximity, the time Shaden was around him, lowest of all mid laners.
Wow.
So he did this kind of by himself.
And also the
was
support
insane.
proximity to him too. Like enemy
Was
Yeah.
highest in the league.
Yeah.
Enemy support, not his
enemy
own
support.
Yeah.
They were targeting
Everyone's
him.
in his lane. His jungler is not in his lane as much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's still winning. He's still
Being
doing
able
it.
to
He
sack
hopped out.
that much also helped bot lane a little bit
Yep.
of time.
Yeah, he run bot a lot.
So honestly, pretty insane. And let's just take a look at the end of day standings, end of split standings. Cloud9 at the top after the tiebreaker game now. Golden Guardians right behind him at 2nd. Evil Geniuses locking in 3rd right behind him. Team Liquid Honda at 4th. Very typical of them. NRG at 9 and 9 at 5th. TSM. Then, as we go into the lower bracket, we'll see the bracket sooner enough. Dignitas and 100 Thieves at 7 and 8. And goodbye to FlyQuest and Immortals.
Yeah.
Now let's take a look at the bracket.
Sorry, we called this at the beginning of the day, but this TL NRG best of 5, based on the way these two teams play, their consistency or lack thereof, this is going to be a banger
That's gonna be
matchup.
amazing.
That'll be great. And as just a reminder, I think it's 10 minutes after the last tiebreaker game, Cloud9 gets to decide which side of the bracket that they're on. They're either going to be facing the winner of EG and TSM, or they're going to be facing the winner of TL and NRG. So once that comes out, I'm sure we're all going to be firing the retweets on social media.
Yep.
Check that out. So remember to check out the update.
Follow
But
Raz LOL. He's going to tweet it. He promises.
I promise. All right.
Yep.
I may even retweet
Only
it
on
twice.
Threads, though. He's only going to do it on Threads.
I'll do
not
it on
gonna
both,
tweet it.
maybe. All right? Maybe on Instagram stories.
Get it
Yeah.
out on Threads.
Let's get it out
Get it on everywhere. Yeah.
Yes. Hey, that's it for us for the regular season.
Thank you.
It felt like a long one.
It felt fast to me.
I was going to say, it felt really fast to me.
Yeah, it's really quick.
I don't know. It's a bit of a gulag. Anyways, that'll be it for us. Thursday now. No more Wednesdays. We'll be back next
Red
Thursdays,
Wednesday.
5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific for the first week of playoffs. Rest in peace, Wednesdays.
Yeah, no more Wednesdays.
Anyone have a eulogy for Wednesdays? You guys think of it in chat. All right, take
There
it
were
easy,
6
guys.
of you.
That was not even
What the hell?
Energy now have to approach as for Treats. Pulls in Dokla. Oh, he almost goes down immediately, and they snipe him with the equalizer. Solo might be traded, but he is still alive. It's going to come down to FBI and Palafox. They got to do a lot of care, but Valulu with a shuffle will take down 2 more. Palafox, he's still up. Maybe he can look for a miracle, but that just turned into a 4-for-0 in favor of IMT. Insanity's up in 10 seconds. Wild Turtle and 8. Boogie taking a lot of that damage. And EG just haven't gone for the end yet. JoJo jumps in out of Haunter. A lot of damage out of the cannon. Can he take him down? Couple more autos. Not there. TSM, it's make or break. They gotta go now, but EG get it. Just playing with them. And they will take the win.
Busio here, Licorice again with the hourglass. Into the back goes River. They found him, lift the lockdown for the Everfrost, and they got him. Stixxay with the damage and the kill as 100 Thieves have to fight without their AD carry. Quinn the stasis of his own, but it ain't gonna do enough just yet. Someday goes all out looking for huhi, but he won't find him. Bucio and Someday the last two standing. Golden Guardians find a massive fight off of a massive pick on Double It. Banger alert, Golden Guardians! And I say that with it at 90% HP. Rich ain't gonna get anybody. Jan's going on a rampage. Team Liquid looking for the end as Tomo goes to the back, finds the kill on APA. Dignitas trying to make the hero move, the hero moment, but it won't happen. They're done. The damage from Jan is enough. The rocket jump right back onto the last man standing. And Team Liquid with a quadra kill for Jan. Top of the table, and they go for it. Glacial Prison, it's gonna find Vulcan. He tries to counter-engage here with a Magnet Storm, but it ain't gonna work. Keep your eyes on Fudge. The slicing Maelstrom could still come out with the flash over the wall. He's ready to go. He finds Vikla, he finds FlyQuest, a double kill, a triple kill. Impact's alive, but it don't matter. Emenes is gonna take care of that real soon.
And now the Shock Blast knocks across multiple members. Jensen goes forward, and Rich gets a kill on the Quid. Someday's on the run, but Someday is down, and Tomo's in the back line. He knocks down another as Jensen knocks down a third. It is a clean ace for Dignitas.
As they get some chip damage down, huhi with the engage. Multiple members being stunned up by River here. Lamb's Respite, popped by Blaber, buys time. The breath of life from Zven keeps everyone topped off from Cloud9, as now River is gone, and Fudge is looking for the flank. Can he get huhi into place here? He still has the all-out available and ready. Doesn't even need it. He takes him out with just the raw damage, and Cloud9 are starting to wipe Golden Guardians off the map one by one. They can pick up the dragon. They can continue pushing down into the base. They've got everything they wanted.